In this segment, I'd like to show you how to generate a fairly large passage, for example, a chapter or several chapters. And you would do this after your lexicon and your grammar are fairly well developed. And we'll begin by going to the ontology, or the objects. Let's look at the first 20 verses of Luke chapter 5. Normally, as I mentioned earlier, normally you do this for a chapter or multiple chapters. But to keep this video reasonably short, we'll look at the first 20 verses of Luke chapter 5. So here are the objects. Let's look at the masculine names first. Okay, so there are three, Zebedee, Simon, and John, that are unlinked to target words. So let's say enter a set of target stems. These names are all masculine. Proper names don't take articles in English. Countable, yes. Okay. So now we can click on a concept and enter the target language equivalent. Let's begin with John. Say Simon. And Zebedee. Okay. When we're done, we click on Finished Entering Set. Now let's look at the feminine names. Okay, there are no feminine names in these first 20 verses of Luke 5. Let's see if there are any geographical names. Okay, Gennesaret. Now there's only one, so it won't save us any time to say enter a set. But I'll go ahead and do it this way anyway, so you can see this again. Gender is neuter, takes article, no. Countable, yes. For the relative clauses for places, we'll use a locative relative clause. Okay. Okay. So we're finished entering that set. Now, let's go to generator. Excuse me. Let's look at Luke 5, 1 through 20. And we're going to say scan text for unlinked concepts. When we click this, it'll scan through these 20 verses looking for unlinked nouns, unlinked verbs, etc. It'll look for unspecified noun-noun relationships. It'll look for event data grid adjustment rules that haven't yet been initialized. So let's do this. We'll click there. Now it starts scanning. Okay, found lake. Neuter, article, yes. We'll use a locative relative clause there. Okay, boat. Neuter, text article is countable, yes. A net for catching fish. Neuter, text articles, yes. Move. Okay, to physically move something from one place to another place. For example, Mary moved the chair from one room to another room. Okay, so let's move. Okay, we've already entered move. This move since B is a different one. That concept is still unlinked. So we'll link it to move, and now we'll check the theta grid adjustment rule. And hopefully you watched the earlier segment that described theta grid adjustment rules. Simon moved the boat from the shore. Simon moved the boat to the water. So this takes an optional source NP and an optional destination NP. We can use the simple output. The source will be marked with the preposition from, destination with to. Let's say this is oblique 1, oblique 2, and we turn the rule on. It goes back to scanning. You can see the verses being incremented up there. Okay, tear. To tear something tears. Something tears. For example, the nets tore. Okay, we don't need this in English, so we'll say it's unnecessary. It goes back to scanning. Okay, a person pulls a fishnet into a boat. pull, half pull, pulling, pulls. Those are all correct. Okay, this is the 30-grid adjustment rule. The men pulled the nets into the boat. Okay, so in the destination, let's say into, and that will be +1. Okay, Simon and friend are in a generic genitive noun-noun relationship. In English, we encode that with a Saxon genitive. And again, you can see it scanning through the verses up here. Verse 14, 15. Okay, a scribe. Scribes are generally masculine. Text articles, yes. Canticle, yes. A mat. Just sit on or sleep on. Mat. Okay, the house. The door of the house, the gate of the house, the master of the house, the roof of the house. In English, we include these with Norman genitives. So I'll select Norman genitive, and then copy first relationship to all. Now they're all genitives. So these will all be realized as the door of the house, the gate of the house, the master of the house, the roof of the house. Okay, so it's done. Now at this point, we would begin generating the text. I won't do that in this video. It would take too long. I'd like to show you one more thing, and that is when you click multiple texts here, and then click on the text button, you have another dialog, and you can enter multiple texts. For example, we've now done up through Luke chapter 5. If you click, I'll show you a shortcut here. If you click on end of chapter, then it'll go to the end of the verse. So copy this chapter 5, and then click on the end. If you click on this column here, it'll go to the end of the book. So Luke 24 through 50. And whenever you change something up here, you need to say insert into list. If we want to add a new one, you can say something. Let's say we want to do the entire book of Genesis. Okay, Genesis 50 to 26. And now, whenever you have this multiple texts checkbox checked, it will generate whatever you specified in here. Okay? That concludes this segment.